winning 90% of your new business because you have some sort of incredible value.
I'm going to take a bit of a different angle.
I've got a budget this big. I'm going to give it to you because you have a really killer plan.
You give a Red Bull to a turtle, what do you expect?
I think that's a dead turtle. So let's move on to...
E-Rig.
Cheers.
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 Does your current premium finance company lock you into long-term agreements? That's because they don't want you talking to us. At IFS, we win your business the good old-fashioned way, with customer service. I know you don't always have to use a premium finance company, but when you do, you should use IFS. Cheers.
Hey there, and welcome to the Digital Insurance Pint podcast. As always, I'm your host, Tom Reed, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Steve Earle, CEO of Bald Insurance.
Hello.
Adam Mitchell, CEO of Mitch Insurance.
Hello.
And Jeff Roy, CEO of Excalibur Insurance.
Welcome, Digital Pint fans.
Just wanted to give a big shout out to IFS Premium Finance, our premier sponsor. Thanks, guys. Without you, we could not do what we do. So, guys, there is a new strategy that has been developed by CSIO, our standards governing body. And good news, we have multiple players around the table here who have been either directly involved in it, like Steve, or peripherally involved in it, like Jeff. So I want to get into this strategy because I've seen it. I've had the opportunity to talk to Catherine Sinclair about it. I sit on the CSIO Initech committee, and I think this is a tremendous opportunity for the future of the insurance channel. So let's get into it. So I'm going to get Steve, you sit currently on the CSIO board of directors. You were personally involved in developing and approving this strategy. So I want to get you to talk a bit about it.
Sure. Well, it was in August of 25 that we got together. CSIO actually had a 3-year strategic plan, and this one was after 2 years. It was decided, of course, that the world's changing really quick with respect to AI and everything, and that our 3-year plan that was developed 2 years prior probably wasn't as relevant as it needed to be. So we sped up the timeline on that strategic plan, and what we came to, amongst a variety of other things with respect to the work that CSIO does in education and all kinds of other stuff, was, that age-old holy grail we've all been working towards with respect to connectivity in the industry between brokers and insurers. And this has been ongoing for 30 years or more, and hasn't ever seemed to be we haven't been able to get a real win. CSIO Net, currently we would all know it as what delivers us eDocs and the EDI download. But CSIO Net 2.0, what does that look like? And how can we leverage AI to make the world better? So long story short, what we came up with in a sentence or two is how do we eliminate duplication of effort and duplication of cost insofar as insurers connecting to broker management systems or other software, or new vendors that want to come in and connect, because insurers have a limited number of resources that they can dedicate to creating connectivities with multiple parties. So what we decided is CSIO Net and CSIO, we're a non-for-profit organization that's owned by the industry. That would be broker channel and insurers, whose mandate really is to improve efficiency via technology. So how do we eliminate this duplication of effort and cost in getting software that brokers use, whether they develop in-house or purchase it or whatever, connected into insurer systems more effectively? And we came up with a model, and it looks like we're going for it, and it's going to work. And what this will do is, take a large insurance company. They've got people banging on their door, weekly, whether it's new vendors or others that want to connect to their system via API one way or another. And to do so takes effort and cost. You multiply that over every insurer, there's only so much bandwidth to go around. So if we could centralize this and allow any and every insurer to connect to CSIO net and then distribute out that API. So for an insurer, the benefit to this is only having to manage really one connectivity relationship rather than multiple. And the advantage to brokers and broker software vendors is the same, only having to manage one connectivity relationship. And CSIO net can sit in the middle and translate.
So, Steve, let me just to get some things clarified in my mind. So, if I understand what you're saying, so we've got the broker side over here, acting through BMSs or other broker vendor tools,
sure,
and carriers over here. So, in the old days, insurer A, B, C, D, and E would connect with BMS A, B, C, D, and E, directly with many points, some that worked, some that didn't exist, some that didn't work very well, et cetera.
Yeah. All translation of languages multiple times, this, that, the other. So there's a lot of effort for each one of those connections.
Right. So and all differently, and even when connections do exist, they're implemented differently. So the broker ends up having to do things multiple ways, even though technically there is some connectivity out there. So looking at this, in my mind, what it's suggesting is that rather than doing this, multi-insurer to multi-vendor, the insurers connect directly to CSIO net, the BMS vendors connect directly to CSIO net, and the movement of the data happens at that central place. Is that
correct?
Fair statement? Okay.
Correct.
Awesome.
Yep.
Okay. So, and if I could point out that in my opinion, one of the downsides of broker flow was that they were looking for private parties to manage that central relationship. Whereas this is, maybe the technology, even if the technology was the same, which it isn't exactly because there is an agentic AI layer that didn't exist in 2018, but this central place is managed by an industry-owned body, a not-for-profit industry-owned body. So that takes a lot of sort of political and competitive pressures out of the equation entirely, right? So you get into you look at the U.S. with Ivans, and that's sort of a 1970s version of this, and with one party owning it. Like the data that's going to flow through here potentially could be the entire industry's worth of data, which is unbelievably valuable. What's to stop a private party from selling that data to TD Insurance or Sonnet or Co-op or whoever?
No, this is broker channel specific.
Exactly.
We sit on the board, representing broker distribution, and the insurers are there as well. So it's specific to broker distribution. The directs have nothing to do with this, and this is about enhancing connectivity between broker distribution channel and insurers.
Yeah.
Not-for-profit organization that we own, and we get to control the data.
Yeah. So, Jeff, let me turn to you for a second here. So you sit on the Initech committee. You also sit on the CSIO Governance Council. Now, I doubt this will go through the Governance Council. I know it hasn't. But if you put your governance hat on and your sort of broker efficiency, broker effectiveness hat on, you look at this and you say, okay, when this comes into being, do you see there's going to need to be more governance, less governance, benefits to brokers from an efficiency perspective or not? What is your takeaway with your sort of governance and your broker hat on?
Yeah, just good questions. This is all very new. I've kind of been exposed to this. Innotech, there was 3 or 4 slides. We talked about the concepts. They shared the ideas with us. Steve has a better line of sight on it, and I think more is coming out of the industry. But based on what I can see, is this really, it builds MCP2 or a translator. So it's using AI to translate. So if an insurance company doesn't have the latest version of the CSIO standards, this layer would help translate it. So in essence, it would help get rid of that double entry, but it'd be using a third party. So, obviously DX and everybody's encouraging people to use the standards. Carriers keeping standards current on Guidewire. The latest version has been a struggle since the dawn of Guidewire and the policy management systems. So does this mean that you don't need to continue to evolve quite as quickly? And this will do the translator in between. There will be a cost to do it, but it will allow people to send data from a broker to a carrier, translate the middle, kind of like basically some kind of Rosetta Stone or some kind of translating software, right? And it should be fairly quickly. So in terms of a regulatory standpoint, not sure what will happen because we're encouraging people to build to the standards, use the latest versions. And again, are they going to be allowed if they're connected to this industry connectivity tech solution? Steve, is there a term for this, an acronym for this?
There's been a bunch thrown around. One of them is superhighway.
Okay, this superhighway, that's easier because
we do actually need to come up with a cooler term for it. But going back to the superhighway thing, so the analogy is like, if you're an insurer or a vendor, you have to build a road to each. So I'm a vendor, software vendor, dealing with brokers. I've got to build a road to each insurance company. Insurance companies also have to participate in the building of that road to each vendor. This, all you got to do is build an on-ramp once. You're on the superhighway, you get there.
I think the question is, once you're on the highway, I guess, there's obviously certain security protocols you're going to have to follow because you're connecting to that pipeline. And again, I know that the Innotech and CSIO has created some really good security standards. So you have to make sure that you're following that. So security be key because if somebody's injecting a car going the wrong way on the on-ramp, it takes out a lot of people. So we can't have bad data going on there. So that'll be something that'll be baked into that. The agentic layer is going to be interesting because my understanding of this superhighway is at the get-go, the agentic part of it's really just translating. You can't necessarily, but we'll have agents, agentic agents jumping in to that translator trying to get things done. So you're going to have different brokers and companies, agentic agents connecting. So that's going to open up a whole new set of guardrails and tools that we're going to have to be aware of. And we have to watch that we don't overregulate this because if we get too many rules and too many guardrails, we're not going to get anywhere. But if we don't have some basic rules of what can happen, we're going to run into some problems with what's happening with the data, right? So that's good. That's kind of my initial take.
So that's a great point, Jeff. I mean, but think about it from a regulator's point of view too, in this sort of new era of what we have going on. Who are you going to trust? Is it the not-for-profit organization that is governed and run by the industry, or is it going to be some individually, privately owned, privately held? Who's going to be, what are they going to do with data? What is it? It's better all around.
Well, the one thing is, I love the fact that we own CSIO. That's been one of the best things Canada's ever done because the US would love to buy it back and own it. It's for every reason Tom said. But I guess the question we have to ask going forward is, what's going to happen in the future? Can we continue to fund this? What's this going to cost? I look at OpenAI. They start off, we're going to be a non-for-profit. We're going to give stuff to everybody. And then they quickly set up a limited partnership in 2019 and built a for-profit arm because there's no way they could afford all the servers, all the data, all the AI to be able to scale with it. So are we going to have to open this up a bit? I'm not saying in a bad way, but funding this could be a challenge. And that's one thing I'd be curious, when the numbers come out, what they think this is going to cost to translate this. Is it simple?
Scoping costs is part of what's going on right now. But I can tell you this, just from a very high level, again, building these roads to a number of different parties, and you only have to build one once and maintain that, your return is going to be huge versus what's it cost to maintain 20 roads to different parties or 5 or whatever versus just maintaining that on-ramp. So yeah, the on-ramp's going to be, it's not going to be cheap, but when you look at the return, I would say, probably within 2 years.
Oh, 100%.
You'd see a return on investment because you've eliminated managing so many different connectivity relationships and taken it down to just one.
So Steve, last year or maybe it was the year before, you led an effort to quantify the cost of the poor administration of eDocs, right? Like the duplications, the combinations of multiple documents into one, blah, blah, blah. And if memory serves, you quantified that conservatively at like $20 million a year or something like that.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and that is, in terms of magnitude, that is a smaller order of magnitude than the cost of double entry to brokers and to carriers to a certain extent as well. So yes, putting this thing together is not going to be cheap, but the actual return on it, the benefits, just the very basic ones, like forget innovation, forget better customer experience, forget all those nice things, just the core costs that are being consumed today because of double entry, getting those to go away, that'll more than pay for this, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And on the insurer side as well, it's not just saving money and being more efficient for brokers. Insurers are going to save quite a bit of money on this too.
Yeah.
This is a GDP like calculation, right? Like they talk about all the time the cost of traffic and congestion going into cities and the cost of that on the GDP, or the productivity of all involved in that economy. This is the same. This is like installing a highway and getting rid of the single lane back and forth, slow putt, because it affects everyone and the end consumer, right? Because this insurance companies are zero-sum games, right? Like all of their costs gets passed on to the end consumer. There's no other way about it, right? It's cost of claims, cost of administration equals your premium. The small nugget of profit in there that's regulated. So this is a win-win. If you can open this thing up, it'll be really hard to quantify exactly where all the things are, but it's an Interact-like moment of collaboration that just makes sense. And the one other one I want to get into is I think we should remove the sexy AI word from this one. It's going to be contentious. It's going to convolute the issue. This is just block and tackle, making pipelines and automation. You don't need, artificial intelligence. We just need basic intelligence to show up to the boardroom table and plow through the red tape, because it's a political fight, not a technology fight, right? Like this is basic stuff for people that know how to do this stuff.
Getting data from A to B and then from B back to A is not secret sauce for anybody, but everybody's spending a shitload of money on it right now.
Okay, so I just want to say a quick thing about this sort of AI versus APIs, yada yada yada. Like, I guess from my perspective, how the sausage gets made, not super concerned about it, but the return, the base return in terms of double entry is going to be good. I think one other thing that I think we should talk about, because we are the Digital Insurance Pint podcast, is what this means in terms of future innovation. And Adam, I'm going to get you to, that's right. What it means is portals will go away. You won't say no to them anymore at all. They just won't exist. But I want to get, Adam, I want you to put your thinking cap on and think about it, from a very digital broker perspective, or, potentially from a vendor perspective, not one of the traditional ones, a new entrant, a smaller player. What does this mean for digital brokers and smaller yet still innovative vendors?
This is basic infrastructure. So I had the analogy a minute ago about this being like a highway that opens up a city for commerce. It's the same thing for me. If everybody who's currently there is traveling over proprietary legacy deals and pieces, so you don't get a lot of competition unless you're willing to pile in millions into R&D and then more millions into the politics of navigating this space. So insurance, by its legacy software, does hold out a lot of innovation and modern development. So by making these roads and these pathways to be able to participate and add value and see if you can participate in this industry, these are the railways and the framework that innovation and development then happens on. So if you have somebody coming from the outside to add value, well, we need to accurate data and pricing and client info and security. All of those things are staples of our industry, and are going to be here forever. I mean, you can't imagine a world of insurance without all of those things. And so if we can provide this framework and stop the competing or bottlenecks of innovation in that part of the world, then we can all put the money and resources towards other competition and other ways to compete on delivering value.
Well, think about it this way, Adam, like what you just said there. We are the broker channel, because it's broker distribution. We have every single advantage over every other way of distributing it except customer experience because of connectivity. That's the thing that holds us back, in my mind. The biggest thing is a shitty experience. We have to do things like, I'll find out the answer and call you back. We don't have direct access. We don't have accuracy all the time. This is the game changer to me that will allow us to retake market share, because we'll have all those other advantages, plus the thing that's been holding us back won't be there anymore. This
is a fun analogy that came to me, and I'm gonna shoehorn it into my golf analogy because I love golf, and sorry for everyone who doesn't. I've long said the broker channel is like golfing with 14 clubs, right? It gives you every tool for every shot and every scenario. As your customers navigate through different stages of life and end up partnered with different insurance companies for different problems. And the direct writers are a lot like golfing with a single 7-iron. It's a good, decent middle of the road club, but it doesn't give you all the other options. So if you're off the tee, you might actually like a driver than a 7-iron. If you're in the bunker or on the green. So then to convolute one of my favorite analogies one step further to illustrate how slow it is, it's as if in the modern world right now, for us to choose between each of the different clubs, it's in the pitch black and we got to run back to the parking lot to pick the other one. If we come back, we might find out that we actually grabbed the wrong one because the pricing isn't actually there. So imagine you could actually just have these things live with it while the other player is sitting with their 7-iron, and we can sit there. Here's another reason why the insurance company should really care about this, is because they work really hard to build their competitive products and pricing and solution to be paired with their target customer at any given time in a market or company cycle. Wouldn't it be nice if when they get a competitive edge and something they want to win, they can most easily sub right in and win that piece of market share? Because right now there's a huge amount of headwinds that says, doesn't matter if you have the best product and price. It's going to take you another 8 years to win market share on that, right? Because the momentum of everything sitting stable, if we can actually bring this to market and across the finish line, this is incredible.
There's a lot of really incredible things that this will lead to if we can get it set up and working. That's a big thing. There'll be some naysayers. I'm sure, Tom, you have questions about what can go wrong, what could potentially disrail this, because let's be honest, this is the Canadian insurance industry. And for every great thing that comes along, there's always the naysayers and the doubters and the people that said, hey, we've tried this for 30 years. It didn't work. I argued that AI is different. The world's different now. We're never been in a better position to work. But, Tom, I'd be curious what you think of what downsides are these, or what do you, from your perspective, any concerns or risks?
So first off, it hasn't been done for 30 years because the industry couldn't get its shit together, right? It had nothing to do with AI or any of that kind of stuff. The industry has not invested in their technology for years, and trying to connect operating systems that were invented before the internet became a thing is extraordinarily difficult. Now, a lot of those things go away, but it could have been done. Other industries did it. We just were too far behind the curve. The only legit, in my opinion, the only legit concern about this approach is that CSIO becomes a single point of failure, right? And I believe, and maybe Steve can speak to this, that that's a fairly obvious and known issue, and that that issue will be managed around.
Mm-hmm. Clearly, that'll be taken into consideration. I mean, security for sure, stewardship of data, all of that.
You want a bigger risk? A bigger risk is this doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
A bigger risk is we fall back onto nobody gets fired for hiring IBM, right? The super safe thing to not put your neck out and take any risk or any leadership is to say, let's just wait until Guidewire and Applied figure something out for us, right? Like there's your IBM solution of, no, the big guy hasn't done it. The big guys doesn't have to. They're coding their own things.
And it doesn't matter what their code is. You can plug right in, right? So think about it this way too. So if you're, I don't care whether you're a small insurer or a large insurer or somewhere in between, if you don't come to the party and everybody else does, that's a threat.
Well, the bigger you are and the more market share you have, the less incentivized you are to participate in this. The more incentivized you are to say, no, I'm taking my toys and I'm going home, right? Because you have more market share to lose than the others have to gain.
So let me jump in there, because Adam, your point is very well taken, and I think my con was absolutely one-upped by your con of it not happening. Now, and I'm going to turn over to Steve, because I know the answer to this, but he was in the room. So there are 6 or 7 CIOs representing some of the biggest insurance companies in the country around the table who are part of this. Steve, maybe just talk about the commitment level that was shown by, the heads of IT of these major insurance carriers. What was their take on this?
They were part and parcel. It wasn't the brokers who came up with it and asked them. This was collaboratively done together with those CTOs and CIOs, right? So resourcing from other areas of the business and timelines, that's a different conversation that you individually have to have, of course. But conceptually, this was collaborative, totally collaborative with the insurers and the brokers. It's the first time in the history of my being involved with CSIO and IBAC Tech and everything that I've had insurers actually going, this could be the thing that actually makes portals go away and unnecessary, because portals are very expensive to maintain as well, right? It's a huge expense.
This could be the connectivity tissue that keeps the broker channel viable in an AI first world. Think about that.
Yeah. So I bring that up, not to sort of poo-poo Adam's point, because it is a incredibly valid point, right? We've been talking about this for years. I've been involved in connectivity efforts for years and years and years, and this is the one, man. Like this has got to work, right? So I think the question that we should be asking ourselves, and brokers should be asking themselves, and broker associations should be asking themselves, is how do we get behind this? How do we make sure that this thing has legs, that it goes forward, that people are paying attention to it, that people are investing in it, people are using it, and getting the benefits out of it?
On the other side, from a company politics point of view, Tom, you've been most time on big company side. What's the likelihood that the CEO, CFO signs off on the excitement of the CTO, CIO?
Yeah, the likelihood is if they look at their broker force and say, if I do this, I will win, and if I don't do this, I will lose. They need to understand that. They need to know that they're going to be better off as an organization if they're playing ball.
Yeah, I think the big thing is it's going to be critical to get out in front of this. Like, this is good. There's been rumblings. Everybody's excited, but it's only the people that have been around the table that are excited, and the stuff's starting to leak out. So this needs to be broken down, whether it's a super highway, whatever the term is, but explain the concepts in as simple, like you're explaining it to a grade 10 version to people so they understand it, and then go a little bit deeper, explain, give the business cases. Here, by doing this, here's what you'll be able to do. Here's some savings that we project that'll happen. Here's what the cost is to build it. Here's how much time we think it's going to take to implement it. And we just need to be upfront. I think that's a really key point to get buy-in, because, having these ideas, and then a lot of times there's a white paper that goes around that's 25 pages, that's brutal, that nobody wants to read. We need to have somebody advocating for this to get it on the rock face and get people pumped about this, but actually fill them with the information they need to know at the right level. And I'm assuming CSIO's got this all figured out with the leadership, but it's also, everybody's job to make sure that we tout it and get behind it.
Yeah, I think the thing that CSIO, that I understand, and Steve, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that I believe CSIO is doing, is starting with a couple of proofs of concept. So dipping the proverbial toe in the water to prove the. Well, I mean, they do talk about the feasibility of the technology. I'm like, okay, this is feasible. I can tell you that right now. It's more the political will and the business payback that need to be proven. And so you can do that with a couple of proofs of concept. So I think that that's more powerful than any 25-page white paper that goes blah, 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 right? We did this in real world conditions. Here's the benefits. Everybody can see it.
I wonder, I was the one to kind of try and kick AI off the thing so as not to convolute the story but I wonder if that's part of the motivating force that's helped part of this is everyone has been run over by GPT and is so amazed and using it, and it is an incredible tool and tools. But is that what finally unified everyone's view into realizing we needed standardized data and structured data and healthy flow of these things being refreshed?
No, I think it came down to the capability and cost today versus yesterday versus 3 years ago.
The costing finally caught up of, okay, we can eliminate this thing. And
it'd
be interesting. I wonder what maintaining an API compared to maintaining a portal cost is.
Wait,
I wonder if that's
maintaining one API, not a dozen. Two different people, right? Because there's
sure, but from a company perspective, if they had to maintain their API suite of products, in and out of their platform, and they're probably outsourcing that and paying. Most of them are going to just turn on the switch for Guidewire as opposed to the portal side. And I wonder what that costs currently for industry-wide,
bazillions of dollars.
To a lot of people, this will be like almost magic to them. They won't believe this can happen. But I think, as you pointed out, now that ChatGPT and other, generative AI and different solutions are out there, people can see it working, and they believe this a lot more than they did before.
But keep in mind, back to what Adam said, this is not an AI initiative. It's a connectivity initiative. AI is a piece of the technology that will be deployed under the hood in the background or whatever. Like, of course, that's part of, we're all starting to use it more in everything that we do, but it doesn't mean everything else goes away. It's not purely AI initiative.
This is a translation process. Like, it's a process. If you have a shitty process, putting AI on it's going to make it even shittier, right? It's going to make it worse. So this, as you said, it's never been a technology problem. It's been a process problem of people coming together to solve that. So I agree. AI is one of the tools in this bag of tricks to solve the problem, but it's getting the process down, getting everybody to buy in, and making it seamless. It's so easy. Like, do people think about the plumbing and the electrical behind the scenes? You don't think about your electricity when you're using your computer, your TV. It becomes part of the experience. You don't think about it. That's what moving data will become, hopefully relatively quickly. Right now, moving data is painful because half of it doesn't go. There's 10 different processes, maybe 30 processes. It's just brutal. So it's making that whole process become seamless, and that, maybe 5 years from now, people won't even remember how terrible portals were and say no to portals. They won't even know what that is. I can't wait for a generation not to know what a portal is.
Is retention important to your brokerage? Of course it is. That's why at IFS, we have a cancellation prevention process. Want more details? Give us a call. I know you don't always use a premium finance company, but when you do, you should use IFS. Cheers.